Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Now finally winter has started, winter has come, and Winter of Woe brings us a very good challenge. So the first fight is Absorbing Man. It is a rough one, and I will start the video by showing you guys a solo with the rank 3 6 She-Hulk. Then I'm gonna break down the fight, and we're gonna suggest some of the better or plausible options for the fight in order to get the objectives done. So let's just start and see how we did. It only took a couple of tries, but we did manage to get in the solo with a rank 3 6-star She-Hulk, which is, quite cool. Rank 3 is still kicking it. Rank 3 6-star still perfectly viable, right? Well, pretty much. So, I will break down the nodes exactly later, but the point is you want to avoid parrying against this guy, definitely. And the main thing to deal with in this fight is regen, the unstoppable, and obviously no parries. So, additionally, whenever you do make a mistake, single mistake will likely end up costing you. It will likely end up costing you pretty much the entire health pool. I had quite a few attempts where I just, accidentally parried once, and I was done for it. And then lastly, you just need to hope no AI tomfoolery happens, because my solo on stream got ruined by the fact that somehow Absorbing Man blocked the special attack after perfectly chained combo that is on a stream, or multiple times, somewhere in the middle of the fight, with 20 Furies active, he just decides not to throw a special attack. So that's more specific for this fight though. Here we go. The plan is fairly simple. You just want to, make sure I don't lose my Furies. I make sure that my slow is active as much as possible, especially when the unstoppable is about trigger. And then there is another kind of necessary effect to this fight, I suppose, because every time I use a heavy attack, I alternate from energy to physical damage. And in a fight like this with She-Hulk, for instance, I always want to be doing energy damage. And that is when I pay attention at times when I activate my special, especially when I drop my level 2, just to make sure that I'm dealing energy damage. So the node on the Absorbing Man is, again, very simple. You alternate in between energy and physical damage, so it changes the damage that you do regardless of the champion, and it converts and changes all of your damage into either energy or physical damage. Obviously, when he's in Uru form, you do not want to be trying to deal physical damage to him, because you're going to be dealing hardly any. Like right now, with 12 Furies, my special 2 hit like 8k, right? So it's basically nothing. And that's kind of the gist of the fight, and the rest of it is just you not making a mistake, you not getting hit in the face, and you managing the regeneration, because that regeneration can get absolutely furious as well. So here we go. We got 12 Furies active here. We're dropping the heavy. And there, I knew I can still parry because I didn't have any of the vulnerabilities on me. I mean, if he crits, now at this point, when I have the vulnerabilities, a parry would kill me, pretty much. So don't until they go away. And now we can see that I actually get in a couple of crits. My numbers are starting to look more decent. So far, we're 150 hits in. He has like 1.1 million health. And yeah, so we are at 15 Furies here. That's, solid amount. Now I'm going to drop my heavy in order to make sure that I switch off the unstoppable, and I'm dealing the energy damage. So here is a solid 37k at this point. And now, whilst I'm still dealing the energy damage, I want to get in as many hits as possible, obviously try and ramp up more Furies. Now here I need to drop a heavy attack in order to get rid of the unstoppable. Since he is not in any of his forms, I can drop my level 2 now, even whilst I was doing physical damage. And now I'm probably going to go into the relic and just go for a heavy. So 200 hits in, he's at 40%. And this is also kind of the hardest bit of the fight, because again, that regen can be absolutely massive, right? And we're going to see, even now, even as She-Hulk is ramped, even with me having the Petrify on level 2, and obviously the ability to switch off the regen with a heavy attack, there will be times when that regen will squeeze through, and when it does, it's not going to be good. It's like regening here, like 20k regen there. That is a lot. That is a lot of regen. 20k per tick. right? So whenever that region does squeeze through, it is very potent. I do not understand why Kabam let it scale here, because I think that kind of ruins a lot of viable options for this fight and makes it, a lot more frustrating than it should be. But nonetheless, it is the way it is, and you can see how quickly his health bar is jumping back up. So it is extremely important that I try to maintain as high of an uptime to my Petrify as possible and switch off his regen at the right points. We cannot reverse his regeneration, but we can stop it if we were to reverse it, or we can use heal blocks and abilities like that. So here we go, last 14%. At this point, I already got quite stressed because I had gotten to this point like 2 or 3 times before, and every single time, either an AI or a bug screwed me over. And that turned out to be quite costly with that 10 energy requirement, which might warrant kind of like a morning video, I suppose. But here we go. Finally, 281 hits, rank 3, 6-star She-Hulk does it. And yep, that's it. 5 minutes 11. Got it done. So, what are the nodes in Absorbing Man and what are the most important ones? Number one, he's dot immune. That also basically makes him immune to all the red numbers, all the passive damage, power thing, all that stuff. You can only do hit damage to him, basically. Enhanced parry armor break is a rough one because you do not want to armor break the opponent, and when you do, he obviously ramps up, and that just, is not good. It's not good for anybody. So you need to be very, very careful with your parries. For most of the fight, you just want to avoid parrying him altogether. You can parry him once you do not have the vulnerabilities active, but obviously as he keeps throwing special attacks, he keeps gaining his charges, and eventually he's going to place them on you. Aggression and precision is kind of self-explanatory. No hit, no mercy is also kind of self-explanatory. Nothing major about those nodes. The most intrusive node is buff toggle unstoppable. So the dot immunity one is the RPG limiting node. It's the one that limits the counters that you should bring in the fight. Buff toggle unstoppable is the most intrusive node in the fight because it significantly alters the fight with giving him unstoppable every 8 seconds for 4 seconds. So unless you have a slow or an unstoppable counter directly, it is going to be a very frustrating and annoying fight in general, where you have to dance around quite a lot for those 4 seconds. It will also limit the time you are available to punish him after a special with a heavy in order to switch off the regeneration, so it poses a lot of problems. Adaptive overrides is actually, I think, kind of helpful node to the players, because it means that, you have access to both energy and physical damage, and you can somewhat control it. So I don't mind this node at all. It just makes the fight a bit more complex, but it's not necessarily a punishing node. Indomitable, it's just to make sure we don't cheese Absman with heal reverse champions, really. And then we have Brute Force, obviously forcing high tempo. And that's one of those nodes that's just, there to provide chip damage. So what are the best counters in the 3 objectives? And again, let's be clear. I'm not going to mention the champions that can somewhat do the fight. That was one thing that I noticed in the stream. Everybody was asking about random champions, whether Quicksilver can do that fight and so on and so forth. Yeah, there are a lot more champions in the game that can do this fight, but you will receive very little benefit for doing that fight because you need to do them with these specific tagged champions in order to complete the solo objectives and gain the points in the event. So you can do an extra fight if you want for fun, but there's literally 0 point in doing that fight with a not properly tagged champion, really. Or very little point to it, especially if you plan on, doing some other ones. So from the Gamma champions, the best option for 99% of the players will be Hulk. Hulk is going to be the best option for the Gamma champions because most people have the 7-star and most people have him ranked up. And then you go for your level 3 rotation. It is, again, a bit jittery fight, but you can go for level 3, then drop your level 1 as soon as you get it, and then you can do a ton of damage, especially if you're not trying to get in a solo. You can just go kind of like ham balls to the wall and do like half his health pull in like 1 level 3 rotation, and then just rebuff and do it again. It just is by far the easiest way to do so. And if you're going for the solo, the best champion is probably going to be She-Hulk. Again, keep in mind that She-Hulk is a ramp-up champion, and if you do quit out, or you do get KO'd, and he's at like 40%, and if you're not on top of the game, he can regen a lot of health by the time you ramp up. But yeah, well, I clearly showed the solo of a She-Hulk, so she is absolutely a viable champion. Then we have Overseer, and Overseer is gonna take a long time to do this fight, but there are several advantages, because as Absorbing Man keeps throwing his special attacks, you mess with his ability accuracy. That will also mean that you pretty much can parry whenever you want, and it will mean that you don't need to worry about his regen, because you're gonna have 8 debuffs on him all the time. If you have Despair maxed out, you're set. The only problem with this fight, again, is that it will take quite a long time. That said, perfectly viable option. Again, no red numbers there. Keep that in mind, which is, a big part of Overseer. And those are kind of the best options, realistically speaking. Again, keep in mind that there are no red numbers, or the red numbers basically do nothing really. So those are the better champs. In theory, Absorbing Man could be good, but managing the region at the end, I think it would be quite impossible, so I do not recommend it. If you happen to have like a massively ranked up Gladiator Hulk, I suppose he could be decent, because he does have that heal block on him at the very least. But no, I think it's in between Overseer, She-Hulk, and Hulk for the Gamma objective. And then for robots, the truth is there's just no good option. Like that's it. There is no good robot. This is going to cost. Like this, I'm not even going to try and get something close to a solo, because they're taking away the dot, which is like a major part of it, and the robots are not necessarily known for their slow debuffs. And yeah, this is just gonna be annoying. My options here, the champions to try, would probably be Warlock, but I hear Warlock is bugged here, and when you're striking Absorbing Man, you're not putting infections on him, which is weird. I think Omega Sentinel is probably the option that I will try, even though my Omega Sentinel is only rank 4, because he's pretty much going to spend the entire fight in his Uru form, which means he's not going to be immune to incinerates or to energy damage. But energy I don't know. Omega Sentinel plus recalls is kind of like my best guess here so far. Again, we have Dragon Man, who has access to slow, but he has pretty much nothing really to mitigate the regen, so that's going to be like a major problem. I have heard people do it with Guillotine, but it has also been painful. Realistically, like, this is just going to be something that you have to rough through. Depends which champion you have. I suppose the answer here is whichever champion you have ranked up the highest and can somehow stop the regeneration is probably the way to go. This is going to be a revive thing that I don't think there is a good way around it. I don't think we're going to see a robot solo or something like that. Maybe, I don't know, possibly Dragon Man, if you can kind of, get that. Again, his slow isn't that great. I don't think it's going to be that easy to keep that slow up, and you can certainly will not be able to put those incinerates on. And again, you're missing out on all the red damage. Nimrod, maybe. Doubted, maybe. Again, he doesn't have anything against Unstoppable. He can remove the regions, but he doesn't prevent the heal block. There's going to be a lot of chip regen. So yeah, potentially with Vision, most likely something in between Warlock or Meg Sentinel is going to be the answer. Not, there's just no good option here, realistically. I think this is a very, very nasty objective. And then we're taking a look at Sinister 6, and here we do have some solid options. In Sinister 6, by far and away, the best option is Sandman, because Sandman can completely shut down his regen with debuffs, obviously, and also the accelerate, so you just spam your level 2s and you're just happy-go-lucky. You don't need to worry about pretty much anything. Alternate decent option is Shocker, from what I have heard, and the third shout-out would probably go to Mysterio with his passive heal block, even though I think that fight's going to be quite hard. I think Sandman's by far and away the best option here. But if you do not have that, the champions that I would try is Mysterio. At least he has like passive heal block, and you can throw a level 3 as well to kind of like get some more damage going. And then Shocker, from what I have heard. Scorpion does not work in this fight. So yeah, the objectives are quite rough for sure. This last one is for Valiants only, by the way. So if you're if you're Paragon, you do not have to worry about the Sinister 6, but the robot one is still going to be rough. Anyways, that is it for this video. So as promised, there was a solo in it, and also kind of like best options explained in the fight breakdown. So let me know if you find this video helpful, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. Bye-bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the next